faster. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum.
Hey everyone.
Closer.
We've been hearing a lot of, really technical, really intelligent people talking. I wanted to let you know that I'm going to change it up a bit and talk about it from a little less technical perspective and also from a creator side. For those who don't know me, my name is Paul. And if you don't know me, that's actually a good thing, and I'll explain why in a little bit. I wanted to start off with, are the slides working? Oh, there you go. The segment I wanted to talk about is I'm no expert, and where do I fit and profit in Web3? I wanted to start off by saying that I don't have any insider knowledge. I don't have any unfair advantages that are not available to everyone. I'm not a coder. I don't have any smart contracts or blockchain developer experience. I'm not even an artist, and my background has nothing to do with technology. But you might be wondering why I'm on stage, and when I find out, I'll let you know. But until then, I really believe that the reason why I'm on stage is because I'm an enthusiast. I really believe that enthusiasm trumps expertise. And because of my enthusiasm, it's prompted me to be here early, raise my hand, try a bunch of things, do things without permission, and have a lot of fun with it. So because of this, in 12 months, I was able to launch a profitable NFT collection. I have a really high and consistent degree of success trading NFTs as well. I've taught and onboarded a lot of newbies into Web3. I've also helped a couple of creators as well as entrepreneurs start Web3 businesses. And it's crazy because like 12 months ago, I didn't even know what Web3 was. And I also was fortunate to help the very first NFT restaurant go global, Andy, Kevin, Philip. And also, I'm in the middle of working with a fund to decentralize iconic IP and make it available to everyone, including you and me. So think of it like if Disney were to allow you and I to use the Mickey Mouse IP and use it for commercial purposes and to benefit more people. That's the exciting work that I get to be a part of. And again, it's because of my enthusiasm, and it beats experience. It dances circles around experience. And I also believe that getting started is more important than perfection. And by the way, perfection is an illusion, and it's something that will sink your ship before you even leaves the dock. And the reason why I have a picture of Steve Jobs here is because if you guys do know the story, Steve launched the iPhone before it was even ready. Because he knew that there are incredible insights that you cannot get on this side of planning and before you take any action. So even though he launched, then he had a lot of people complaining about glitches and bugs. Though the same feedback helped calibrate the iPhone that we love and can't live without today. So for the next 10 minutes, I wanted to share about how I got started in Web3. Also some of my biggest advice for anyone that wants to thrive in this space. Ideas that you can steal if you want to start your own Web3 company, or if you want to be able to get a really rewarding career in the space. And also, finally, there is a free NFT that I wanted to give everyone here today, just for spending their time to better themselves and learn more about the inevitable technology that's blockchain. Thank you. A little bit of context, though, a little bit of an origin story. I've spent the last 2 decades starting, owning, operating, investing, and in scaling in restaurant companies. I also own a chain of 9 restaurants in the US for the Halal Guys, which is a very famous New York street food brand. We do about $15 million a year in sales, so a really accomplished Web2 business. I've also had the fortunate opportunity to sell over 1,000 restaurant chains, raise capital for a couple of startups as well. I also helped a couple of accolades include growing a restaurant chain that had only 9 stores, selling it to 400 locations, and then going public on the stock exchange. I also helped grow a mom and pop operation that was just one store to 100 stores before getting acquired. And just overall, just had the fortunate opportunity to help mom and pop and restaurant chains become more profitable and scale. And not saying this to show off and, hey, look at me. It's more like, I'll actually explain why in a little bit, why this matters to Web3. One of the biggest frustrations that I had about restaurants is that the restaurant industry tends to be really behind on technology. Andy, Kevin, Philip, my friends who are also speaking here today, they're the owners of the Food Fighters NFT collection. They're also the very first NFT restaurant that have actually launched. They actually beat Gary Vee to the punch. They'll also agree with me that restaurant margins suck, and they are in desperate need of innovation and creativity. And so, as you know, restaurant owners, they are making less money. It's hard to find really good workers. Also, whoever is working is overworked, underpaid, underappreciated. And also, the only technology that's available to us as restaurants is third-party delivery, which ends up taking 20 to 30% of your margins. So even though it may help the consumers, it's killing restaurant owners. And so I made the decision that the next time a really good cutting-edge, game-changing technology came around, I would not miss that. I would not be a tech laggard. And I wanted to show one of the NFTs that I hold for Food Fighters. Love that piece. Not selling that thing. But when blockchain started hitting the scene in 2021, it was super confusing. I read every article that I could before dying of boredom. I'd say probably 90% of the stuff that I read there was super technical, super nerdy, went way over my head. But they're worth a few things that I was able to understand. And the first one is that confusion equals money. That means that there's going to be a big business and a lot of money being paid for people to help bridge the gap of understanding. The second thing was that confusion also means that you're early. And when you're early to a technology, you have the opportunity to exploit it and to have a disproportionate amount of value and credit for it. And the third thing, there were just what little I could glean from it, even though I only stood like maybe 1%. The 1% of my knowledge was good enough to get started, and the 1% included these facts. The first one is more people are spending time online, and this is thanks to technology, and this was actually put on steroids by COVID, of course. The other fact is that people build community around interests, whether it be cars, watches, clothing, books, movies. Guaranteed that there's going to be a meetup, there's going to be a conference like this one, there's going to be a forum, there's going to be a Reddit, a subreddit for people to feel like they belong and talk about their biggest interests. The third thing was that digital assets can now be authenticated. So just like people authenticate luxury handbags, or they authenticate Monet paintings, now blockchain technology is able to verify all that. And actually more accurately than the human, the expensive bottleneck of a verifier. And so the people like to make this joke that I can just right-click and save a Bored Ape. You can do that, but it's worth absolutely nothing, and you have no community to build around it. So we can get into that debate as well if you'd like, but we'll move on for that. And the final thing is that creators can now control their destiny. So originally, like a lot of our speakers today talked about Web2, meaning the film studios, the production companies, the social media platforms, the auction houses, they all control the supply. They all control who gets to make the money. But blockchain is able to decentralize that. All that power goes away. Creators get to create their artwork and distribute it and sell it and connect directly with their community. So that's my favorite part of blockchain. And so after understanding all of that, I minted my very first NFT. I actually bought it. I didn't mint it. I started an account on Maker's Place, found an artist by the name of Midlet. He created this. Unfortunately, I can't play the video, but it's actually a video that constantly is in motion and it's called Formless. And it was a great story. It meant a lot to me because it shows that despite all your greatest plans, all your greatest structures, some of the most important life-changing events in your life are always happening to you when you're fluid and open-minded and flexible. So I ended up minting that, and I'm not ever selling that because it's my first NFT into this space. And that actually prompted me to start my own NFT collection. Well, before that, I ended up minting all the zoo animals, all the cool ideas, all the cool initiatives, and I don't have enough slides to hold all the thousands of NFTs I ended up getting addicted into. But this prompted me to start my first NFT collection. My spirit animal is the honey badger. I love that it's fearless. Even though, despite its size, it's the most fearless animal on the planet by Guinness World Records. And it goes against all odds, like bee stings, poisonous snakes, lions. If you guys are also familiar with the YouTube video that went viral about the honey badger, then you'll know what I'm talking about. And this is a perfect example of how I used enthusiasm over experience. Because I wasn't an artist, because I didn't know blockchain, I recruited a designer from Finland. I recruited a website designer from Fiverr. I hired a smart contracts developer from Indonesia. I also asked my staff, Ryan, thank you so much for your dedication. I had them divert some of my work in consulting in Web2 to do Web3 work. And then I just started my socials in Discord and just got started. And it actually turned out way better than I had expected. In a matter of 2 months, I made $20,000 of Ethereum, made an extra $5,000 in custom commissions. My community helped form the roadmap ahead. We ended up being a community that helped each other steer clear of scams and look at high promise NFT collections in the space, and we became a trading NFT community. It also formed a DAO where a bunch of our community members put money together, and were able to collect really expensive art that we couldn't have collected without each other. And we also created a bunch of tools for NFT trading as well. So I could not have expected that to arise from this experience, but it's better than I had ever thought. And this is probably a little bit too small, but I'll save you the trouble. I'll kind of share this in a nutshell. One of my community members heard about me in a business podcast about my excitement in Web3. And what he did was he ended up just joining my Discord, becoming part of the Crypto Badger community. And one of my favorite things that I like to do for my community is just share projects that I hear about that have a lot of promise. And if I do have an opportunity for whitelists and pre-list sales, I share it with them in hopes that one of us gets to benefit from it. And Andy, I don't know if did you know about the McLaren NFT? Okay. So Andy's team actually told me about the McLaren thing. McLaren, the exotic car company, they were getting into the NFT business, and they offered an opportunity to mint NFTs. And Roger, he ended up minting an NFT for 0.5 ETH. And during the reveal, that ended up being worth 6 ETH. It was a really rare one that ended up being a 6 ETH worth NFT. And so he ended up selling it for 1,200% ROI. And because of that, I didn't realize this, but I got to learn more about him. But he ended up using that money to save his struggling tourism business in Indonesia that was hit really hard by COVID. He was also able to help one of his employees pay for college. And he also was able to take his family out to a vacation in Malaysia, which he hasn't taken his family out on vacation in a long time. So even though the money is really good, these are the stories that I live for. And so, yeah, and these are the 3 major lessons that I learned from all this. Number 1, nobody reads a book about about plumbing and knows how to be a plumber all of a sudden. You have to learn by immersion and just jumping in. Second thing is, you never truly know anything until after you launch. Again, all the things that I've been able to experience are because I just got started, and we figured it out along the way. And number 3, you don't need to sell out. My collection has 3,432 tokens, and we actually did not sell out. We sold out only half of it. But what I learned was that selling out just means that you're really good at marketing. It doesn't mean that you're good at doing important work. We were able to only sell half, but we were still able to do important work and create the DAO, create trading tools, and help a lot of newbies become NFT adopters. And so you don't need to sell out. We're okay on time, or we got 30 seconds? Okay. Well, I mean, I can end it here, but just wanted to share that you don't need to know all the details. You don't need to be a brilliant person. You just need to get started. And action dances circles around brilliance that doesn't take any action. So looking forward to chat with anybody about my experience. And thank you guys for your time.
Philippine Blockchain Week. See you next year.